Hi, artfully, I'm using my November Clique kits for this segment. Hi guys, so I wanted to show you a tip here how I flatten my mixed media pages that are warped, and I'm showing you where I have an idea. I cut these watercolor flowers like exclusive cut files from Clique kits, so I'm using my November Clique kits. And I just placed those because I had an idea that I wanted to put 3 areas of mixed media, a watercolor using distress ink. So I'm showing you I'm using abandoned coral here, and I'm going to use a piece of waxed paper. I just place it on the waxed paper, and then I'm going to spray it with some distilled water. I'm showing you this in real time, and then I'm going to speed it up so you don't have to watch the other segments. And I'm going to do this several times, and then I'll show you the tip when I did it in real time. I didn't want it to confuse you. If I showed you the tip at the beginning, then you're going to be like, well, when did you do that? So here I'm just showing you real time how I did this. And I'm going to do it in several layers and dry it in between like you do with when you're creating a watercolor painting. You need to dry your layers in between so that you can get different depths and more interest. So that's what I'm going to do. I have 3 or 4 stages that I'm going to do here. I wanted to show you that I had gone off camera, and in between the 2 clips I had dried this with my heat tool. So I'll go ahead and use the wax paper technique again, because it's random, but I can also control it a little bit better if you tear off a small piece of wax paper. So here I'm going to do another layer. This time I'm going to use a watercolor paintbrush, and I just took it off of the acrylic block. That way I can concentrate it where I wanted more areas of color to show through. And I just wanted a little bit at the bottom to be more concentrated. And this way you get another layer. If you dry your layers in between like this with the heat tool, then you'll get lighter areas and darker areas, and it will have give a lot of texture and interest to your page. And this is where I'm going to show you the tip I have. This is a really warped page after all the layers, and the heat drying in between each layer is pretty warped. I wouldn't want to put that in my scrapbook. I just have a thing with that. So I use my ink machine on setting 4 or 5 and feed it through, and it comes out absolutely completely flat, which is awesome. The ink machine was created with precision edge-to-edge rollers, and it gives an even pressure and completely flattens it, better than ironing. So I love this tip. Selected the papers to go with this photo, and some of them are from Cedar Lane. I'm showing you the code there on the bottom. And then that's my November Clique kits. And I'm showing you the colors in the photo. So I based the colors of the mixed media. That abandoned coral was the exact color of my daughter's dress for homecoming. So I thought it would work well to highlight that. And then here I'm deciding what am I going to do with these pattern papers. I knew that I wanted to create 3 areas of embellishment based on where the mixed media watercolor is. but I didn't quite know how I wanted to add the pattern paper, so I left this clip in where I'm moving things around and trying to decide because I wanted you to see the process. So here I'm showing you how I used a backing, and this is also, I'm participating in the Big Picture classes fall craft party. So Paige Taylor Evans had showed a little, one of her craft party challenges was to use sequins. So I had these sequins on a roll. I've had these for quite a while from Hobby Lobby. So I thought, well, I'll just cover this little block with adhesive from edge to edge, and then I can just lay down my sequin trim instead of having to handle each sequin individually, the little tiny ones. So I thought this would be faster. And it did work, and it was faster, so I like that, and I got to use up some of my supplies that have been sitting there for probably the last 5 years. So here it was very, very sticky. I have 2 ATG guns. That larger yellow one is my non-archival, so I use it on anything that's not directly in contact with the photos. And then I'm just going to go around, and because this is really high-tack adhesive and it's pressure sensitive, it's one of the highest tack you can get, and I just get it off of eBay. I just buy it in bulk, so I haven't had to buy ATG adhesive for quite a while. But I like having this high-tack one because then it holds these sequins really well and they're not going anywhere. I also have another, my pink ATG gun, that's the 1/4 inch, is the archival one, and I use that behind my photos. Because this sequin trim is on a roll, it's really easy to just go around and curve it at the end and continue on with the next. So this goes way faster than putting on each individual sequin and trying to get the background completely covered. It had a little knot in it right here, so I'm going to fiddle with this. Yeah, that's fun. I'm going to fiddle with that, but I end up getting it to look okay. I don't have much white space showing through, so that's all that I was concerned about. How I use my non-stick Fiskars detail scissors to get that adhesive that had gone over the edge. I just moved that back, and my non-stick scissors are a really good tool to do that, so that there's no adhesive showing on the final layout. was moving the tags around, I guess I could have cut it out to make myself look like look better. But I left it in to show you. I didn't like how the tags were looking up there, and I think it's because the mixed media watercolor is down at the bottom of the photo, so I wasn't liking the tags at the top. They just weren't doing it for me. So I switch modes here, take a little break, walk away from it, and come back and decide that I want to cut that tag up and put it at the top where the first top left mixed media little watercolor section is. So I'm trying to tie a little bit of the gold thread onto the tag there. And then I just place it at the top. And I'm going to go from there and try to keep with the 3 areas that I originally started with. And I think I end up liking this better. So I cut a strip of the vellum and put it behind. And then I'm going to layer several strips from the cut apart sheets from the November Clique kits. This is the We Are Memory Keepers Wildflower line. So I'm trying to decide, it was a long strip and I cut it into 2, so I'm deciding how I'm going to layer that. And I really love this floral paper. It reads as black, even though it's a really dark navy blue, it looks black with the pieces of paper. And I cut out some of the fiddling with the pieces of paper here. And I'm ruffling up the edges. Why am I off camera? Okay. Well, I'm just ruffling up the edges, and I already put adhesive on that piece. I had cut the rest of the tag. It didn't have enough left on it to go all the way across behind the photo, so I just stuck it out each side, and it looks like it goes all the way behind. And then I realized there's an awkward gap between where the striped paper starts and this part of the tag, so I move it down a little. I didn't like it way up there. And I have to add some more adhesive since I moved it. There we go. That's better. And then I add some stickers from the Wildflowers collection, the We Are Memory Keepers. There's a full 12 by 12 sticker sheet. So this says Hello Darling. I'm adding that. And then I'll go back over here to the left bottom section and add the embellishments for this section. So I'm getting some more of that metallic thread. I'm going to wind it around my finger and try to glue it down here. I think my 2x speed is everyone else's normal speed. I must be really slow, so it seems like this is normal speed, but this is actually at 2x faster than I created it. I need to speed it up. Thank you so much for joining me today, and let me know if there's any other kinds of videos you would like to see. Thank you. Bye.